When we was down at Texas for the Good of the Land Fest, we came back with this HotShot 360. Stan from Vise Industrial, he got this one for us. It'd go up to, I believe it was 2,000 degrees, so we can heat treat S7, O1, A2, D2, and actually DC53, and I've been playing with that a little bit, and I can get it into the high 50s, but I think that has to have a special cool down feature on there. I'm not sure, so I'll have to play with that. But anyways, it's got a 6-inch by 6-inch and 10-inch deep, so you can do a fairly large part in there. And I've been doing a lot of A2 stuff, and I've been tweaking that in. I got to get the temperatures just right. I got some charts, but I know I have to play with them to get it right, and not only the temperature but the timing. This is the faceplate that goes on our spin fixtures, made out of A2, and that's what we just finished doing. It got up to about 59 Rockwell, which is plenty good for us. Like I say, I'm real close to getting that down pat. But what I like is you get that caramelization, and you get that on there. One, you got to keep the oxygen out, and we'll use the stainless steel foil. It's 2,000 thick, and it's a heat wrap, and we'll show some video on how to prepare that as well. But anyways, this is a nice little oven. We're going to be using it a lot. You'll see it in future videos, and we can't thank Stan enough for getting this for us. It's going to be a great help. We got other products that we'll be heat treating. We got these little 45-degree templates that the children are making for their own tool collections. They're working on some 3060s as well, and some thin ones like that. Those are all A2. I have a lot of rail systems going faceplate work, and it's all A2. We got these little units that will actually, they're out of A2. They'll go on both sides of that unit, and the V-block will ride in there, and that keeps the V-block lined up real nice in the one direction, and you can adjust it in and out. So those get heat treated as well, and then we'll get those all ground up, and that will, having this oven doing stuff like this is just great. It's great to have because you can get this all done if you got hot jobs, emergency jobs, or if you just want to do it yourself at home. You can save the cost from sending it out. But it works really nice with the controller over here. You can set that. I got software for it on the computer. You can download from its site. I gave Stan a call, and he helped me set up the first program and explained all the details on it, and it's really nice software. I like it. You can ramp up to, like in this case with A2, I'll ramp up to about 1,400 degrees, and you ramp up slowly, let it ramp up for about 20-30 minutes, and the reason you do that is if you ramp up too high, it actually will stress the part, and you can end up with some cracks and everything. But once it ramps up to about 1,400, what you do at that point, and you want to go from 1400 with A2, it's about 1750 to 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to ramp that really quick at that point, and then you want to let it soak. It's about 20-minute minimum per square inch. I think they want on the chart they say 20 to 40 minutes. The thicker the part, the bigger the parts are, the more time you want to go. And so there's formulas all over the internet that you can check into that and give you some ballpark ranges that you can set your timing and everything on. So I've done a lot of heat treat at one of the jobs I worked, but we never had the ramp up. We just threw the material in at temperature, which you're really not supposed to do. So this is going to be a lot nicer, a little more learning curve, but we really appreciate the oven, and like I say, we'll be using it a lot. And again, I can't thank Stan enough for getting this to us. This is a block of A2 that we're going to be making a V block out of. Adam just squared it up on the milling machine, and he's got some footage, but we're using our new tools that we designed with like these little 45s and straight edges. He's got some footage. These work with the new jaw set we're making, but we just wanted to show you how square this came out. We're going to be using this Indy square, and we'll get that set. This is a 1/10 indicator, so from 0 to 1 is 1 thou, and we're within 5/10 on that side. You can see that's just about perfect right there. So you can see that about the farthest we were out is about 5/10 on one side, and that's probably a flatness issue rather than a squareness, because on 3 of these sides it's almost perfect square. And again, this we're excited about this new product that we got coming out. We don't have pricing on it yet. We're still developing some things, but it'll make work like this real simple. And later on we'll show you how we'll set this up in the vise for cutting the V by using the 45-degree angle on that, actually mounting both of those up so they'll stop and make nice stops, and we can cut that V good and central without adjusting the head knot or the angle on the head at all. It'll work really nice. But again, it just really good and accurate. Really happy with these results. This block will be a V block of similar size to this one right here, and we'll have it with all the hole patterns in there, and this will be a nice addition for the shop as well. So this block will eventually look very close to that one. Okay, what we got to do now is when we're going to make this V block, the next stage we're going to do is we're going to cut this V in that block. But what we're going to do is I'm going to have you so you can lay this out with scribed lines. That'll make it a lot easier and faster on cutting it. Now with this V block we use 1032 screws, and we got this spaced out just right so that I can make my strap across there, and then I can come over here and I can rub it's sitting on this surface without hitting the screw head or that surface, so that way I can flip stuff over, get it nice and central. So we're going to have to do the same thing here, but because we're going with a 1/4-20 rather than 1032, the dimensions will be different. Plus, we got to compensate for the head. If you get this too close to the edge, like this, well, the head itself will be sticking out. And so the screw head on a 1/4-20 is 370. And so what we're going to do, we're going to scribe some lines. We're going to scribe some lines and at 410. We may even go 420. But what you do is you want to hold and set this first. So you want to set it 0. And the line is about 5 thousandths thick, and it wouldn't matter in this case because it's a reference, but if you're doing something fussy, set that so it's about 2.5, 2,000, something like that, before or after the 0, and you'll be actually more accurate because you compensate for the line thickness. So anyhow, that's 100 thousandths revolution. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see 4's on the counter, and we'll just go 420. So now what you want to do, you want to set this up, you want to scribe a line, kind of like this. Get it all the way across. Oops, that side. Trying to keep it in the camera. Go ahead and flip the block over and get a line on the other side.
Should I move the part, or do I move the scribe?
You can move the scriber, probably easier.
I'm just like right on the edge.
Yeah, you just get kind of at an angle. I got an angle ground on there so that you can be right on the point. And again, this is just for a visual reference when we're cutting. Just makes it a lot nicer. Okay, and then what we need to go for about a 1/2 inch on this side as a reference too. Yeah, you don't have to go all the way across, just about a 1/2 inch. Yeah, and flip it upside down and do the other. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to scribe out the V. That'll give us a nice visual. One thing that you can do is you can take a 45, line up the lines, use the Randy Richards scriber, and scribe that on there. But one way that I like to do is I'll just take the strap off, and we'll use the V block because it's set at 45-degree angles already too. So what you can do is put your V block in there, bring your scribe tool, and then what you can do is you can just eyeball the line with the one that we did on the side, and then you can come across like so. Go ahead and flip it over the other way. Just flip it over that way and scribe a line. And so the nice thing with the V block, it makes it nice and central for you.
Is that good?
Yeah. And so this is basically the V that we have, that we'll have in this V block right here. And let's see for reference where we're at on there. So this one we went a little bit steeper. What we'll do, we'll probably go steeper, but we'll just move our hose over. So we're going to go beyond that line there. Okay. But we're going to set the tap hose over, and you can see I did this over here. You got this edge is closer, and there's more meat on that side. And the reason that I've done that is so that we can get a deeper V. So we'll do the same thing there, but these were just references when we went on there, and we'll go from there. We want the V to be at least the same size as that. So we'll go over to the mill, and we're going to show how to use the new tooling that we developed for cutting that V in there. Well, we're going to be using this prototype tooling that we have. There's only a few sets made. We have the actual original prototype, and we got a refined prototype. We gave a set to Keith Rucker, a set to Lance Baltzy, and then Justin from Good of the Land. And so we're going to actually cut the V in the part, setting it up with this. So we're going to have a complete modular system with stops, 30, 60 degrees rather than just the 45s. We'll have attachments that can go on here. We're still developing a lot of this stuff, but it's going to be a nice modular set where you can have V-blocks, angle plates, all kinds of neat stuff that you'll be able to just attach right to your jaws. So I have this one attached already, and this one we'll put in here, and we'll just slide up until it hits the other. And what I like to use, instead of a hex wrench, I like to use This is a little Craftsman ratchet, and you can get the little bits. And so what I do is I take this first, and then I just use my fingers and get her started. It's nice because you can get in them tight spots real good. So I just go in there and get it somewhat tight, or almost tight, and then I just tighten her down against the jaw. So now I got me a V in here, and what we can do is we can set the part up. So now our part's setting in a V, and when we tip it the other way, it's automatically going to be nice and central. And the advantage of using a system like this is you don't have to twist your head. You don't have to take the nod, put that at a 45. You don't have to try to spin it in this direction at a 45. So you can leave your head alone. And in my opinion, it's always easier and better if you can put your part in at an angle rather than the head. One thing a lot of people don't realize is that you got your y-axis traveling in this direction, and so if you turn this head at an angle one of these two ways, what's going to happen is if that's not lined up perfect with that y-axis, let's just say you're 20 degrees off from your y-axis. When you turn this at an angle, if you wanted to get a 45, you're not going to have a 45. You're going to have a compound angle of 20 on the Y, and then you're going to have the head turn at 45, so you will not even get a 45. So that's one of the things that you want to be careful. If you do turn your head, you got to make sure that this whole ram is lined up real good with the Y-axis. So I'm not sure the condition of these inserts, how good they are. And so we're gonna take a couple cuts and test it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that's locked down real good. And we're gonna go over here, and this is gonna throw some chips, so you might want to wear that safety shield that Adam always does, because you're gonna be right at eye level. Thing cuts smooth, doesn't it? That's let me grab the inserts and stop right there. These are Trigon inserts. It's a Coralloy, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's an 1.5 shell cutter, and these are some awesome inserts. Oh, get the wrong direction. Yeah, the Coralloy. Adam's on the other side filming. We'll get the Coralloy inserts with an 1.5 cutter. What I did, I actually made an arbor on here that actually will hold this cutter a lot more rigid than what I can find on the market. And I do have some Instagram if you're interested in that. I think I might show that on there a little bit more. But I could get easy 2 to 3 times the depth of cut using this modified holder I made than what I could for anything that was off the market. So let's go another 100 thou. And as that cut gets wider, you're going to feel it in the handle. When you're cutting, it's going to get tougher. So you may have to slow it down a little bit as we get a bigger bite. These cut with a square shoulder, which is nice. So they're really great for a project like this where you're roughing everything out. They do throw chips. So you just want to wear the proper safety equipment. You want to cut in a way where you can predict which way the chips are going and position yourself in a different area. Our heat treat just went off, so I'm going to take care of that just real quick. And watch yourself, because this is hot. We're using the heat treat oven that we got from Stan at Barzy Industrial, and I've been playing with it quite a bit. This is one of the pieces made out of A2, that buzzer you just heard. It was letting me know that the heat treat was done, that this part was finished cooking. So that alarm's working real nice. I can have the oven going in the background and not even have to worry about it. When I hear the alarm, I know it's ready to pull out of the oven. The width of the cut that we're taking now is almost going to be 1 inch wide, and so I just want to see what it feels like and what I can push. And if Adam, maybe you can get your other camera and you can show the digital where we're watching feet per, or the inches per minute on, it'll be, yeah, so if you watch over here, that will show you the inches per minute that we're getting. And Kathy, you might want to stand over there. That's 100 thousandths depth of cut, and you can see how much we've cut already. So those, again, those are some really nice inserts. You can feel right now, because the width of the cut is getting greater, that it is taking a little more effort. When we wasn't taking as much, I was going almost 30 inches a minute. So like that. What we're going to do is we're going to hook up this shield now, because it's starting to throw some chips, just an extra thing of safety. So Kathy, you got to watch that. You can see where you're at now. You're almost touching that and you'll be out of the cut. And so that can be your reference right now. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to change the cutter. We're going to use this. It's a homemade mill-tec, but it's a homemade shank, that R8 shank that holds these mill-tec inserts. And in a lot of our longtime followers on Instagram and here, you know this is my favorite insert. Very free cutting. They last a long time. You can get one box of those inserts and resharpen them on the hand grinder. They just go and cut forever. The inserts, you can get them in square, you can get them in hexagon and round. And the one thing that we have a number of these cutters. The one thing that we don't have a square shoulder. These inserts are sitting at 2 degrees, so we can get close, but we'll finish up with a regular end mill. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead take right now, because we got this side real nice and smooth. This side's kind of hacked up on the side. What you do now, you just take it, make sure everything's nice and clean, and we flip it over. And because this is stopping within the V that we have set up, we should be able to come across there. There you go, Kathy. So we just flip it around, and we shouldn't make any adjustments on the depth on the Z. Okay, you can see now we got a real nice V cut in there. And so our next step, we'll be taking an 1/8 inch end mill, and we'll be holding the V like this. And I can even just leave those jaws right in at this point. So what I have an 1/8 inch end mill with a 3/16 shank to give it some rigidity, and we're going to cut a relief down in here. So what we did here now, we just put this little notch in there to give it relief. I don't have a ball nose end mill that size, and that would have been a better option to use the ball nose, and then you got a little bit more strength. Anytime you use sharp corners, especially when you're heat treating stuff, it could be bad. But we put the relief in there so that if you put a square part in there, it's not going to bottom out if it's got sharp corners in there. Also, when you're grinding this, now I don't have to come all the way up and touch his face with the side wheel, so I can grind and I can get in that shoulders, and so these surfaces will be nice and flat. So this is a V-block, be working in progress, and this will be it for today. We'll be doing a lot more work. We got to put a lot of holes in, slots, everything else, and we'll be going showing more on this build in future videos. Thanks for watching.